Hola a todos, acá Nicolás, and in today's video I'm gonna teach you the reflexive verbs in Spanish. What is the reflexive verbs? So this type of verb are basically one verb plus se. For example, the verb to go. The verb to go is ir, and then if we add a se at the end, it would be irse. Okay, so in this case, normally these type of verbs, they change its meaning, or sometimes they become reflexive. That means that the action and the person there, or the thing that receives the action is the same person. So in this case, we are going to learn all about this. So if you are ready, let's start with this right now. Okay, so first of all, we have here some examples. Here, the verb I just told you about, it was the verb to go. The verb to go is the verb ir, right? So the verb to go, these are basically the conjugations. I think you already know them all. So this basically means the verb to go. Yo voy, vos vas, usted, él, ella va, nosotros vamos, y ellos, ellas, ustedes van. Remember that in Argentina we only say vos. So if you are speaking, if you are learning Spanish, neutral Spanish, you would use tú. So here, this is very simple. You just have to follow each conjugation. But now, once we add this new pronoun after ir, which is irse, in this case, the verb changed its meaning. So if it is normally the verb to go, means I go somewhere, you would say yo voy a casa. Then we got the verb irse, which is the opposite, which is to leave. Not always happens this, like it changes meaning, but in this case it is, because it is a regular verb. So the verb irse means to leave, it's the opposite. So now let's see all the conjugations of this verb. For example, yo voy. If you would like to say I leave this place, I live somewhere, you will have to add me. If you want to say I live, you have to say yo me voy. Otherwise, if you don't say me in the middle, it would be the verb to go, because you are saying yo voy. If you want to say I live, you will say yo me voy. Okay, here, yo me voy. Then we got the pronoun vos. This pronoun is vos vas. Okay, vos vas, you go. Then if you want to say you live, you would say vos te vas. Vos te vas, you live. El, ella va, he goes or she goes, or usted. Remember that we also say usted here. Él, ella, o usted. We are going to say se. That means he lives, she lives, etc. Then, nosotros, nosotras. Nosotros vamos. Here, what we are gonna add is the pronoun nos. Nosotros nos vamos. Okay? And the last two ones is ellos, ustedes, ellos, ellas, o ustedes, you all. You are going to say se. Okay? So, yo me voy. I live. Vos te vas. You live. Él, ella, usted se va. He, she, you formal leaves. Nosotros nos vamos. We leave. Y ellos, ustedes se van. This means they or you all leave. Now, one important thing that you have to know, that you should consider, is that sometimes the verb irse also means just to go. Just to go. But in what kind of context? So basically we use this verb irse as to go sometimes, but it is grammatically incorrect. But anyways, people in Argentina, people everywhere, people in Latin, in Spain, they use this way of saying this verb, which is irse, as to go or to live. But most of the time we just say to live. So this is a common grammatical mistake, but nowadays people say it like this. But you just should consider the first, the verb to live. So now, as you can see, if you do not say me, te, se, nos, se in the middle, it will be as in its infinitive way, as its normal way. Now, if you would like to say the short way of all of these verbs, of all of these conjugations, let me show you how you can do it. For example, the verb to go, you can always skip the pronoun, okay? Let me write this. Now, for the short way, if you skip the subject, that means yo, vos, él, ella, nosotros, ustedes, yo, él, ella, etc. Then you have the short way, okay? So if you want to say the short way of the verb I go, the verb to go, you will just say voy, okay? You skip the pronoun yo. So you just say voy a la escuela, voy a la escuela. Then vos, if you want to say you go the short way, you will say vos, just vas a la escuela, the same. Ella va a la escuela o va a la escuela. Nosotros vamos a la escuela. Ellos, ustedes van a la escuela, the same. So this is the short way of saying this. Now you may wonder, what about this one? What about the verb irse, the verb to live? This is a longer type of verbs, they have longer conjugations. So what can we do here? Okay, so here it's exactly the same. We just gotta skip the subject, which is yo, vos, él, ella, nosotros, ellos, ustedes. So here we are going to say me voy, I leave, vos te vas, él se va, nosotros nos vamos, y se van. Okay? This is the short way for saying all of these type of verbs, the reflexive verb. You gotta say the first part, okay, the second part. Now here we have some other examples of this type of reflexive verbs. So let me show you some of them, see their meaning and how they work. But first of all, here you can see all the conjugations, okay? So it will be always yo, me plus the verb, vos, te plus the verb, él, ella, se, nosotros, nos, ellos, ellas, ustedes, se. Remember, usted, él, ella, se plus the verb. Okay, so now let's see some of these verbs. As for example, here, let me show you that here there are two different type of verbs, the ones that I told you about. For example, let's start with mirar and mirarse. So mirar here, as you know, it means to watch or to look. Okay, so mirar means watch. Then mirarse, it means to look at oneself or to watch oneself. Okay, when you are in the mirror and you're looking at yourself. Okay, so it would be look. You would say, yo miro la tele, right? Yo miro la tele, I watch TV, and then yo me miro en el espejo. I look at myself in the mirror. Okay, I look at myself in the mirror. Then if you want to say she looks at herself in the mirror, you would say ella se mira al espejo. Ella se mira. Yo me miro ahora en mi pantalla de computadora. Right? I look at myself in my computer screen. So here you can say, in this case, it is a reflexive way. That means the person that is making the action and the person that has received the action is exactly the same person. Okay? Oneself. Then, let's see despertar y despertarse. Well, in this case, despertar means to wake up. But in this case, it would be wake up, to wake up somebody. Despertar. So you have to use it with something, okay? Something, somebody. For example, yo despierto a mi madre, yo despierto a mi amigo, yo despierto a mi novia, a mi novio, etc. Then we got the verb despertarse, we have the se. In this case, it will be to wake up oneself. As for example, when you say, I wake up in the morning, you would say, yo me despierto a la mañana. Yo me despierto a la mañana. I wake up myself in the morning, or just I wake up in the morning. Okay, in this case, it refers that the person that's doing the action is myself, okay, and receiving the action is myself. And then, for example, if you want to say she wakes up at 7 a.m., you would say ella se despierta a las 7 de la mañana. Ella se despierta a las 7 de la mañana. Okay, so this is wake up and then oneself. Again, then levantar y levantarse. Levantar means to lift. Okay, levantar, lift, or to pick up. Okay, so you would say yo levanto, for example, my marcador. Okay, my marcador, it is on the floor, let's say. It would be yo levanto mi marcador. Yo levanto mi marcador de mi mano o del piso, from the floor. Okay, and the last one is levantarse, which would be to lift oneself, to pick up oneself. Basically, in English, the best translation, it could be to get up. Okay, get up, for example. I get up in the morning, I get up at 8, I get up from the bed, I get up from my chair, etc. So it is oneself again. Oneself again. So for example, I can say, yo me levanto a las 7 todos los días. I wake up 7 in the morning every day. Vos te levantás un poco tarde. You wake up a little late. And then we continue with the rest of examples. Before continuing with this video, I would like to mention that my new group lessons will start on May 1. So if you would like to learn Argentinian Spanish for traveling, or just because you would like to enjoy learning Spanish and learn Argentinian Spanish in specific, in the description you will have much more information about this, so you can start right now and start changing your life and start learning Argentinian Spanish with me and with group lessons. More information in the description. ¿Qué estás esperando? Dale! So then, on the other side, we got the verbs that are not that reflexive. That means that in this case, it changes meaning. Okay, let me write it here. Change its meaning. Here, the ones that change its meaning One side we got the one-self verb, so we just say, for example, mirar, mirarse. I look at myself, despertar, despertarse. I wake up myself, levantar, levantarse. I get up myself, etc. So here the one-self verbs, and then we got on the other side the ones that change its meaning. Now let's see these ones. For example, the first is ver. As you know, ver means to see or to look at something. Okay, ver means to see. Okay, so for example, yo veo este video, right? I watch this video, I see this video. Tú ves mi cara, you look at my face, you see my face. And now the verb verse, it changes meaning, and this means to look like, okay, look like. So if you say, I look like Messi, so in this case you would say, yo me veo como Messi, right? Como Messi, I look like Messi, okay? Yo, me plus the verb, we know that ver, I see is veo, so yo me veo como Messi, I look like Messi. Also, if you just say look, like you look sad, you would say, te ves triste, vos te ves triste. She looks angry, you would say, ella se ve triste. Okay, so this is still look like or to look. Okay, look like something, like you look like sad, you look angry, you look with an emotion or something like this, you will still use verse. So in this case, as you can see, it doesn't really have to do with the verb ver, it just to look like, okay, or to sing, kind of. Then we got the verb llamar y llamarse. So llamar means to call. For example, yo llamo a mi amigo, I call my friend, I call my mother, yo llamo a mi madre, vos me llamás todos los días, you call me every day, etc. Then, on the other side, we got llamarse, that would be like my name, or basically to be called. It doesn't really have to do with I call myself, no, it doesn't really. In this case, it is to be called. For example, I'm called Nicolas, right? Remember that in Spanish, we normally say this way. We say, I'm called Nicolas, she's called Alexandra, they are called Juan and Esteban, etc. And that's the way we say my name is. You can also say, yes, mi nombre es, but it is much more normal to say, I'm called blah, blah, blah. Okay? So, for example, a super common way to ask your name, we could say, ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas? How are you called? How are you called? What's your name? ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cuál es tu nombre? Etc. So then you can answer, yo me llamo Nico. Or the short way, me llamo Nico. Okay? Todos acá me llaman Nico, todos saben mi nombre, que me llamo Nico. And then the last two ones, this is encontrar y encontrarse. Encontrar means to find. Well, for example, I can say I found Messi on the street, in Argentina street, or in Miami. You would say, yo encontré a Messi en Miami. Yo encontré a Messi en Argentina. Yo encontré este canal de YouTube. I found this YouTube channel. Okay, so this means to find. And then encontrarse is completely different. This basically means to meet. To meet normally with your friends, to meet with someone, to have a meeting. Basically, to meet with someone. It can be casual or it can be formal, okay? Two different ways, but it's still the same. So, for example, if you say, I meet with my friends this weekend, you will say, yo me encuentro con mis amigos este fin de semana. Yo me encuentro con mis amigos este fin de semana. Another one, it could be, let's meet on Saturday. You would say, encontrémonos o vamos a encontrarnos este sábado. Okay, so all of these different type of verbs, you can see, they all, even if it is oneself or change its meaning, they all follow exactly the same rule. And the rule is this one. So you just say, yo me plus des. And remember that you must always say this pronoun in the middle, because otherwise if you don't say it, the verb will have its infinitive form, okay? This normal or previous form is normal or previous meaning, okay? So you have to know that, and it is very important. So now let's move on to the last topic related with this and see the location of all of these different pronouns, of all of these different reflexive verbs. So now here, let's see the location of this type of pronoun. So here we have two different examples that I'm going to show you right now. So the first example that I'm teaching you, this is we have to meet. Okay, we have to meet now. We have to meet next Sunday. We have to meet. This is tenemos que encontrar. Now, For the pronoun, where is located this pronoun? Where is the location of this pronoun? Well, we have two different locations. Why? Because we have two verbs on the same sentence. Because we have two verbs on the same sentence. To have to and to meet. The same here. And quiero ir, this means I want to leave. We have two verbs. I want or want and then to go. To want and to go. So we have two verbs. We have two different options to say exactly the same. So the first, tenemos que encontrar. Now, as we say, we meet, we know that it is nosotros nos encontramos. So we say, nos tenemos que encontrarnos. Why do we use the infinitive form of this one? Because we have a verb here, and whenever we have to say a verb plus another verb, the following verb, the second verb, will be in infinitive form. So we wouldn't say tenemos que encontramos, okay? We don't say that because that's not infinitive, that's conjugated. And then why do we use nos here? Because the real way of to meet is encontrarse, okay? The real way of to meet is encontrarse with this pronoun here. But in this case, it only changed this pronoun, okay? So we say we have to meet, would say tenemos que encontrarnos, okay? Then two verbs and then the pronoun will be on the second verb. Then the second way and the last way is to move this pronoun nos to the beginning, okay? So it's keep the same meaning, keep exactly the same, but we just move the pronoun, okay? So you could say just nos tenemos que encontrar, and this is we have to meet, nos tenemos que encontrar, tenemos que encontrarnos, we have to meet. It's exactly the same, two different options, just because we have two different verbs on the same sentence. Now, for the last example of this video, here we got the I wanna leave, I want to leave. So you could say, quiero irme, because I live, okay? Quiero irme. We know we have here to want, to go. What do we say? Why not just say me voy? Quiero me voy. Because here, when we have two verbs, we have to say the infinitive form. Then, because it is a reflexive verb, we have to say the infinitive form plus the pronoun, okay? The infinitive form plus the pronoun. Quiero irme, I want to leave. And on the second sentence, it will be me quiero ir. I want to leave, I want to leave. But remember that you can always say the subject. So you can say yo quiero irme or yo me quiero ir. We keep the same, it is exactly the same, it's exactly the same meanings, just two different ways. There is no different at all, just you move the pronoun, okay? So I hope that you have found this video useful, and I hope that you have liked it and you have learned a lot. And remember that if you would like to start learning Argentinian Spanish, this is the perfect channel for you. Spanish with Nico, here in this channel. And if you would like to start all of this topic, if you would like to speak like as a real native, as an Argentinian like me, you have to learn Spanish with someone. You have to find your own safe area where you can practice, speak slowly, and learn everything about Argentinian Spanish, everything about Spanish in general. So if you would like to learn Argentinian Spanish for traveling, I would like to tell you that I'm going to start the group lessons on May 2. So if you would like to learn all of this Spanish, you would like to speak in Argentina, come Argentina, start a new business, and start a new life right here. In the description, you have much more information in the description. We start on May 2. So if you are watching this right now, you still have time. So you gotta see it in the description. Thank you for watching this and see you in another video. Ciao, ciao. Thanks for watching this video. If you are a beginner and you want to learn Spanish, my book, Mini Stories to Learn Spanish Beginner's Guide, is available on Amazon. If you are looking to learn Spanish to visit Argentina, with my program you can do it. All the details are in the description. Thanks for watching.